All right, we're going to talk about triads. I've done this in some other videos as well, but I think I'm going to maybe slow this one up a little bit in terms of presentation because I just feel so strongly that most guitar players don't have a clue when it comes to triads, and that's a real problem because yikes, it's like I don't know. I have to make something up. It's like bad. That's what it is. You've got to know and understand your triads and understand how triads are formed. And so I'm just going to take you through a little bit of background, and then we're going to take that right to the fretboard, and that's where I want you to be too. I hope you've got a guitar in your lap right now, and I hope that guitar is tuned up so that you can get the most out of this session. All right, so triads, 3-note chord. A triad is a 3-note chord. If I play a C major chord like this, right, that's a 3-note chord. That's a triad. By definition, because there are only 3 different notes in that chord: C, E, G, C, E. Right? I could put another G down here. So that's a triad. But when we talk about practicing triads and inversions, what we do is take a triadic chord down to its most fundamental elements, which are just the notes that belong in that chord. So in the case of a C major chord, and we're looking at a C major chord as it would come from a C major scale, right? So C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those degrees are written out in Roman numerals, right? Not just because I chose to in my book here, in one of my books, but because that's the way it's been done for over 100 years. You can't write Arabic numerals to do that. That's not cool. We need that for other stuff, for chord spellings, for instance. Okay, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, or back to 1. An octave away, and when we spell a triad, we go 1, skip a note, take a note, skip a note, take a note. 1, 3, 5, and that is going to sound like this: 1, 3, 5. Okay, C chord. Okay, cool. That's all there is to that. Now, when these notes are sounded simultaneously, it's called a chord. When these notes are played separately, it's called an arpeggio. Right? This is what an arpeggio and chord look like when they are written in music notation: arpeggio and chord. Okay, just definitions. All right, now inversions. An inversion is when you take the bottom note of the chord. In this case, this is the root position chord, C, E, G, because the lowest note is the root, or the naming note of the chord. We take that bottom note and we flip it up an octave. And now if we started with a chord that goes 1, 3, 5, or C, E, G, and now we move to a chord that's E, G, C, or 3, 5, and 1, right? So first inversion of a C major, we start with a root position, go to first inversion, right? Now we'd have different notes on the bottom and the top. Root position, and first inversion, right? E, G, and C. Okay, and we do that same thing again from the first inversion. Go from E, G, C, we go G, C, E. So now we have the 5th on the bottom and the 3rd on the top. Starting again. Right, and then because there's only 3 notes, this triad will only invert 3 times, right? So C, E, G, E, G, C, G, C, E, and C, E, G, which we have to get up here. So the triad and its inversions. Okay, I think that'll probably make sense, right? You've probably heard piano players play, like practicing their triads and inversions. But guitar players, or whatever you will call them, grips, or guitar players tend to think of things far too visually, and that's, in my own humble opinion, that's not a good idea. So yeah, triads are hugely important on the guitar, and let's move up from there and move on from there. As you can see, the lowest note of each triad is moved up 1 octave to form the next inversion. This same process can be reversed by notes down 1 octave, right? So we just reverse it. Right, you're just taking the top note and putting it down an octave, top note and putting it down an octave, okay. So I think you all know what a fretboard diagram, like that's a horizontal diagram, would look like. Here's one right here, right, and with the fret markings. Because now what we want to do is take that triad idea and move it up the fretboard, right? So we have C, and here's root position, but now we're going to move up. Let me do that one more time, right? And remember that we're just doing the same thing all the time. We're just moving, they're taking the bottom note and moving it up. And I should mention string set. I'm just moving up on string set 1. I could go lower too. Okay. So I'm just going through root position, first inversion, second inversion, root position, first inversion, second inversion. I could go up into outer space, root position. Okay, good. And now I can take exactly that same thing, and I can move on the second string sets 2, 3, and 4. Check it out. Same thing. All right, I'll do that again. Okay, and now I can combine those 2 string sets. So let's get back to what am I doing? I'm playing a C chord. That's it. That's what I'm doing. I'm playing a C chord, right? But it's a heck of a lot more interesting than this. If you want to do any soloing, if you want to do any chord melody playing, if you want to learn how to comp, you can't do that unless you learn your triads. I mean, that's just all there is to it. So triads are incredibly essential to developing as a player. It doesn't matter if you want to play jazz or if you want to play country, if you want to play rock or pop or whatever, you're going to have to learn your triads. Now, keep in mind, just to finish up here, keep in mind that every time you invert a triad, you end up with a different melody note I'm going to call it a melody note on top. Listen. Anyway, just sort of riffing there. You can tell that I'm just going from a 1 chord to a 4 chord, and you can tell that that there's just so many possibilities. I mean I'm just doing next to nothing, but all of a sudden it starts to open up. You're not just playing playing like and that you're stuck there, right? You can move all over the fretboard. There's a bazillion different ways to treat the lines which will start to emanate from these chords because you're inverting, and the way the ear, the listener, hears this is they always hear the top note as being the predominant note or being the melody note. So if you're just playing in open position all the time, it's very difficult to come up with a melodic melodic ideas. Let's put it that way. But with triads, they're everywhere. Okay, that's it for this session. That was just 1 chord I'm looking at basically, and taking that chord all over the fretboard on string sets 1 and 2. So there's lots to learn here. I'd probably suggest, if this is new to you, to go through this video a few times. And this comes out of a book that I wrote. That's why I've got this long PDF thing here. It's called Guitar Triads. Crazy. 2nd edition, and building a functional understanding of chord construction. You can pick that up on Amazon if you like. It's cheap, and it's packed with easy to decipher information that'll get you right on the fretboard and get you learning triads. Okay, that's good. Like, subscribe. Subscribe is great, and I'd love to have you back, because I'm intending to move forward systematically and progressively. And if you've got any comments or questions, I really appreciate them, because it lets me know that some people are actually listening. And I think that's it for today. Triads and inversions. Remember that the chords come from scales. See you soon.